Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem and invocation. Color Guard, parade the colors. Color Guard, retire the colors. Chaplain Nelson will now deliver the invocation.
I invite you to join me as I pray. To the one who has called us each by name, as we hear our names spoken aloud today and receive diplomas and certificates of accomplishment, let us also hear your voice calling each one present to receive a word of purpose and direction in life. We celebrate finishing a chapter in our own history that we may continue from this day in this place to create outstanding stories that surround us every day in all the places that we may find ourselves. There are among us future admirals, generals, elected officials, and senior civilians, fathers, mothers, husbands, wives, loyal friends, brothers and sisters in arms, the future of not just our great nation, but many others. And so with friends and family who have gathered to encourage and support these graduates, we welcome the presence of our Creator, who has anticipated this moment from the beginning of time. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Naval Postgraduate School's Fall Quarter Graduation. The men and women sharing the stage with President Rout and Acting Provost Newman today are the deans of our various schools, distinguished professors, U.S. foreign government officials, and our local area military leadership. They've all been deeply involved in the education of today's graduates. At this time, I'm honored to introduce our President, Vice Admiral Ronald Rout, U.S. Navy retired.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Dean of Students. What a great day. To our distinguished guests and faculty and staff, family, friends, and soon-to-be graduates, good morning and welcome to today's graduation ceremony. Today is a celebration of individual commitment perseverance, and personal accomplishment. We are here today along with family and friends to express our great pride in our students' academic achievements. Joining me on the stage today is our guest speaker, Vice Admiral Lee Gunn, United States Navy retired. Also joining us today is Dr. Ronald Smiley, Naval Air Systems Command, Director, Electronic Warfare Combat Systems, and Director, Avionics Department, Weapons Division. He is a curriculum sponsor for Electrical and Computer Engineering Department. I would also like to recognize and thank Dr. Richard Elster, former provost and now an NPS Foundation board member, and other foundation members who are here with us today. Their continued support of our institution provides us with the margin of excellence that is so important to our success and to our students' successes. Finally, thank you to our Dean of Students, Captain Vandersloot, and everyone who worked so hard on his staff to put this event together. And I understand this is Sonia's 94th graduation, is that right? And a special thanks to our volunteer musicians and the Del Monte Brass. Please join me in welcoming all our distinguished guests and volunteers. Today, we gratefully acknowledge the faculty and staff whose dedication to each student has made this graduation possible. You truly are a world-class, amazing team. Your passion for teaching and commitment to this institution are greatly appreciated by everyone present, especially our graduates. While we honor our graduates and the faculty who helped them get to where they are today, we must also recognize their families and friends. The importance of their love, support, and sacrifice cannot be overstated. Thank you for taking this time to be with us, especially to those of you who have traveled some distance to be here. If I could ask family and friends to please stand so we can recognize you and say thanks. Come on. All right. Thank you. Thank you. To our graduates, words cannot express our immense pride in your success. We have immersed you in an extremely competitive academic environment that has enabled you to focus on and to think about the challenges that affect your service and our national security. It is our commitment that your NPS education will provide you the foundation upon which the rest of your careers and lifelong learning are built. Many of us here have heard the term the tip of the spear, describing our military forces forward deployed or otherwise actively engaged in deterring and fighting the enemy. At NPS today, we talk about sharpening the spear, sharpening our military spear, sharpening your spear, so that you can be more productive and perform your duties effectively at the nation's tip of the spear. In addition, your research, your papers, your theses, and the research efforts of our faculty and staff also contribute to sharpening our military's effectiveness on the front lines, in military operations of all kinds, and in executing our combatant commanders' theater engagement plans, sharpening the spear. Our nation will count on you graduates as strategic influencers, problem solvers, and leaders wherever your career takes you. We know you will be influencers and leaders at every step along the way, in your wardrooms and ready rooms, in your units and staffs, and certainly in command. And all along the way, spread the word about NPS and your experience here. Spread the word, like NPS graduates and influencers and leaders, Admiral Mike Mullen, Admiral Bill McRaven, and current Deputy Secretary of Defense Bob Work, and influencers and leaders like Vice Admiral Lee Gunn, our guest speaker today. Like them and thousands more of our graduates, we know that each of you can make a difference. I also encourage each of you to continue being good mentors and citizens in the communities in which you live and work. I am proud of our citizen students who have participated in the MOTO program, mentoring others through outreach, mentoring at-risk youth in local schools. Many of our students and faculty are actively engaged in science, technology, engineering, and math education programs, judging local science fairs within our community and on campus. Others participate in programs like Monterey County Reads, coordinated by the Panetta Institute for Public Policy, which aims to improve literacy levels among children at local elementary schools through active reading. And still other students have staffed the hotline at the local Sexual Assault Crisis Center, built custom homes for wounded warriors, have participated in speaking engagements at local schools and organizations, helped clean up the environment and habitat, and volunteered to serve on our student council and our event committees like the Navy Ball and the Marine Corps Ball. Thank you to those of you who chose to play an active role in your community where you live. And I encourage your volunteer spirit in your communities in the future. Leaving Monterey is not always easy, but you leave with some great memories. More importantly, you leave with an enhanced education, a set of skills, and a wider network of friends and colleagues, all of which will be useful to you throughout the remainder of your careers. On a day like today, when you reflect on your accomplishments and look ahead towards an uncertain future in a changing and sometimes violent world, we are reminded of our call to service, your call to service. It is our hope and expectation that you will leave here prepared to do something great. On behalf of all of us at NPS, thank you and congratulations. And now it is my distinct honor and personal privilege to introduce our guest speaker. Vice Admiral Lee Gunn earned a bachelor's degree in experimental and physiological psychology and was commissioned from NROTC at UCLA. In 1971, he earned a master's degree in operations research from here, the Naval Postgraduate School. In 35 years of active duty, he served on destroyers and frigates, commanding USS Barbie and Desron 31. As a flag officer, he commanded Fib Group 3 in the Pacific. We deployed together in 1995, most notably when my cruiser joined his multinational naval force off the coast of Somalia. Hopefully, he's forgotten the speeding ticket my ship received during deployment workups, when I really did proceed on his orders at best speed, around San Clemente and Santa Catalina Islands, straight through the Coast Guard's restricted approach lanes to Long Beach and Los Angeles. I was a cruiser. I was doing 30 knots, and it was my mission. As you read his bio in your program, you can easily imagine the impact his education here had during his various assignments. Commanding Desron 31, then known as the ASW Desron, and as the Naval Inspector General, to name only two, where I remember his study of the Navy's flying hour program, asking the question, were the assumed metrics really correct? No, they weren't. And he reshaped our thinking about how to fund and execute the program, with dramatic impact on naval aviation training and operations. Many Navy operations research graduates aspire to one day work at CNA, the Center for Naval Analysis. After retirement from the Navy, Admiral Gunn served there for 14 years as president of the Institute for Public Research. It was also during part of this period that he served as the national president of the Surface Navy Association. But today, and for our future, we're grateful that Admiral Gunn continues to serve as chair of the Board of Advisors to the Naval Postgraduate School and the Naval War College. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Admiral Lee Gunn.
You know, at this point in your career, you arrive with some regrets. One of my regrets is that Ron never wrote a fitness report for me. I think it might have come out a lot better. I'm grateful to President Rout, to Provost Newman, for the opportunity to talk to the graduates, and that's mostly what I'm going to do today. This is a great chance for me to communicate some of the things that I learned in the 44 years since I left this wonderful institution. It's clear from the early remarks that all the folks here in the Naval Postgraduate School, faculty, staff, the leaders, are very proud of what you've accomplished. Approximately 300 of you here today, representing, I think, by my count, 29 nations, have accomplished the kinds of things that people who haven't been through that experience at the Naval Postgraduate School perhaps don't understand but could only relish. And I am here as a veteran of that and as a veteran of a subsequent career which involved the learning that took place for me here to tell you that that effort is absolutely worthwhile. But just as the folks here at the Naval Postgraduate School now are proud of you, I'd like to speak on behalf of the thousands of graduates of the Naval Postgraduate School who are around the world and say that we welcome you wherever you're going, and we'd very much like to be a part of your life and a part of your conversations. The faculty and the school have made personal and professional investments in you. The staff here has worked on your behalf every day. The professors have worked with you to understand concepts, to clarify ideas, to imagine new ways of thinking. That pride, I think, extends to that debt, the investment that was made by the faculty here, extends to the citizens of your nations who sent you here. Most of you are Americans, but for those who aren't as well, the citizens sought the opportunity to invest in you because of your promise, because of your accomplishments, because of the reputation you had developed. And so there are many, many people here today and elsewhere around the world who've invested in you. So I believe that the best thing I can do today is to tell you, again, briefly, some of those things that I think will be important for you in years to come. First, though, let me tell you why I'm a sailor. I was a small child when World War II ended. My dad, a Navy lieutenant, was, like most sailors, a reservist, and he was expecting to be demobilized. The Navy then, instead, asked him to stay on active duty. He was an engineer, and they asked him to lead a team of Navy Construction Battalion Seabees in the reconstruction of 4 islands in the South Pacific, the water facilities, the piers, the roads, the things that had been damaged in the fighting that had taken place there. He agreed to go if Mom and I could go too. And the Navy said yes, and so off Dad went to the South Pacific. For Mom and me, planes, trains, automobiles, and finally 2 ships allowed us to join Dad in Pompeii. For the better part of the next year and a half, my companions were mostly Mom and sailors. Paying attention to me must have been an effective way for sailors to avoid work because I got an awful lot of attention. But Mom and sailors were my teachers too. On Pompeii and on our return voyage, the dependents who were aboard the ship were well taken care of by enginemen, boiler tenders, quartermasters. My earliest practical mathematics lessons were in celestial navigation. As an aside, by the way, I first entered school in the 2nd grade, pretty accomplished in arithmetic, but needing a lot of work cleaning up my colorful and salty sailor language. But I got over it. So what's the point here? It's simply that I grew up loving and respecting sailors, but not only sailors, all the wonderful men and women who put on, as my friend and former Chief of Naval Operations Vern Clark used to say, the cloth of their nation. I'm struck that whatever service and agency you represent here in the graduating class, you put on the cloth of your nations too. So with that wind up, here's the pitch. I hope that you leave the Naval Postgraduate School dedicated to emphasizing in the next stage of your careers at least these 5 things, which I contend are among the most important. People. You already know what a privilege it is to lead people, to have folks look to you for examples, ideas, guidance, and leadership. Imagine with me for a moment what your people will expect of you in your next assignment, or maybe even more importantly, have the right to expect of you in your next assignment? Number one, that you'll give them the opportunity to do well. Secondly, that you will ensure also that they have the opportunity to grow and develop professionally and personally to the best of their abilities. They'll expect to have a clear understanding of what you want of them. That's a particularly important point, making it clear what you want in order that what you get is what you expect. They expect to be appreciated and to be allowed to know they are important members of your team. They want to belong. And finally, they'll expect to be taught as well as corrected when things don't go as well as you expect. So the first thing is people. Be deliberate about helping them do well, appreciate their efforts, ensure they know what you expect, include them so that they know they belong. And when things don't go as well as you'd like, always help them learn from the experience to do better next time. My second important thing is competence. Rarely mentioned in discussions of leadership, I consider it to be the first and the most important component of leadership. The better you are at what you do, the easier it will be for people to follow you. It's tough to follow someone who is not at the top of his or her game. The better you are, now the folks who follow us don't necessarily have to like all the things they're asked to do. That's not my point at all. So let me tell you the second of a couple of personal stories. My wife, Lily, chaired a department at a university for several years. She and I talked one evening after she had met with the dean for her first personnel evaluation. Here's her rendition of how that went. The dean praised every facet of her research, writing, and teaching. The students had raved about her, and enrollment was surging. Now, the end of Lily's visit to the dean, though, he said, and she paraphrased, "We always have to include in our appraisals at least one area of performance in which the professor could improve." So I've added the following comment for you. Some of Dr. colleagues have complained that due to her extensive people and social skills, she gets us to do things we don't want to do. Excuse me? That's it? My experience is that it doesn't take much of a leader to get people to do what they want to do. It's getting folks to do those pesky things that they don't want to do that requires real leadership. The third important thing is humility. In the Navy, there's an annual award named for Vice Admiral James B. Stockdale, a Congressional Medal of Honor winner, for his courage, leadership, and character while in captivity during the Vietnam War. I believe the Stockdale Award is the most prestigious non-combat award the Navy bestows. Only line commanders in command at sea are eligible to receive the award. But what's important also is that only line commanders in command at sea who are themselves eligible for the award can nominate their peers. As you might expect, the winners are brilliant. Each from the Atlantic and Pacific. They're arguably the very best of those outstanding submarine, surface, aviation, special operations COs nominated by, remember, their competitors. They're also among the most humble officers you'll ever meet. I've heard many of them speak passionately at the award ceremonies and after about the wonderful people with whom they work. I've never heard one talk about him or herself. The fourth important thing is paying attention. There's simply no substitute for paying attention. Here at NPS, I'm sure that Professor Paul Milch said more than once during stochastic models 2 and 3, I wish Lieutenant Gunn would just pay attention. But nothing is more important than paying attention. Nothing is more vital than staying engaged, staying focused, being in the moment. So pay attention. The last important thing is thinking ahead. Among all these other things, you have to think hard about being ahead of the problem. You're already good at this, I know, because your performance and reputations, the things that got you here, are built on your being able to anticipate consequences, consider risks, and enrich your plans with branches and sequels. But you must continue to anticipate the unexpected and prepare for the worst. My last story is that this, in effect, happened to me, and this is a sea story. That is that something happened at sea that helped me understand the importance of preparing for the worst. I was a ship commanding officer, and my ship was designed and built with very little redundancy in the propulsion system. We were always just one significant materiel casualty in engineering away from having to rely on our single diesel emergency generator. If we needed it and Dr. Diesel's machine didn't start, we would be, as the crew would say, hot, dark, and quiet. One beautiful calm day in the South China Sea, my chief engineer and I planned to conduct engineering casualty control drills. He brought me the written descriptions of the initial conditions he was planning to set at the beginning of each drill. He planned to have the diesel emergency generator already running when the toughest drill began, the one where the ship loses the automatic boiler control systems for the boilers. Controlling the boilers manually was very difficult, and our ship's team hadn't had the chance to practice in a while. Since we didn't run the emergency generator while in normal steaming mode, I told him to have the generator stopped at the start of the drill. He protested that we would probably lose fires in the boilers at some point because the team lacked practice. Further, he predicted that the generator wouldn't start automatically because it was unreliable. New news to the new commanding officer. I said, when better to test this than on a calm, warm, sunny day? Now, thinking back on that decision, there was every reason to have it running as the chief engineer recommended. We could have conducted more drills, gotten more training, recovered more quickly with each unsuccessful try at manual control of the boilers. However, as a new commanding officer, like I just said, I needed to know what worked and what didn't on my ship. So we shut down the emergency diesel. Longer story that I won't bore you with, but as you may suspect, almost as soon as we started the drill involving the loss of the automatic control system for the boilers, we also lost manual control and had to shut them down. Chief engineer was right, the emergency diesel didn't start. A bigger problem was that our crewman who was manning the emergency diesel had allowed the pressure in the high-pressure air start tank to bleed down below that point which we would need to restart the engine later after corrections were made. So where else in the ship was high-pressure air? It turns out there were two places. One, a tank for charging the torpedo launching flasks about 100 feet forward, and another about 200 feet away with pressurized air for ejecting spent gases from the barrel of the forward gun. Over the next several hours, our machinery repairmen and ship fitters built a temporary high-pressure jumper. Think about that. Crafting underway a high-pressure jumper, something that will handle 2,500 pounds or more of air, that would allow us to equalize the pressures between the two full tanks and the depleted one, start the generator, and begin restoring normal steam operations. Well, it worked. We'd avoided the embarrassment of my having to call the strike group commander for a tow. Again, not a good thing for a new CO, but even so, that was the worst possible consequence of our making those choices that day. Chief engineer took personal custody, under lock and key, of the rig his team had designed and built on that warm, calm afternoon. 6 months later, on detached and silent anti-submarine patrol, far from the carrier strike group, and much closer to the Soviet landmass than the strike group, we had a somewhat different but still similar problem. It was a really dirty North Pacific winter day. We were in a whole gale with cold 30-plus foot seas driven by a Siberian wind when a fire broke out in our main electrical switchboard. This immediately shut down not only the automatic boiler controls, but the fuel pumps, of course, and the air induction systems. The emergency diesel, again, didn't start. And the air start tank, again, was depleted as the team struggled to get the engine to start. The fire was put out in 20 to 30 minutes, but as we settled into the trough of the seas and began the ship's rolling 30 to 45 degrees in silence, the only light we had was the battery-powered battle lanterns to work by. Well, we all survived. The generator was prepared by our enginemen to start, the high-pressure jumper worked again, and the air from the other tanks gave us the pressure we needed. Our crew had prepared for this when the winds and seas were calm. They saved the days when things got rough. It's an important thing for me to remember. I hope that kind of illustration will be important for you as well. So that's it. 5 important things. Each of you has your own such list, and you'll perform a great service for those you lead if you talk to them about the things that are on your list, and if in the process of mentoring your juniors, you discuss it with them as well. What are your most important things? I know that each of you is better armed intellectually today than you were when you first drove up to Herman Hall. You're ready to face the challenges of a world at least as complex as any I've seen since I enlisted in the Navy in 1961. Seems to me that having classmates from so many nations is a blessing too. So stay in touch. Keep the network alive. Make it stronger. Collectively, you all work in a variety of ways to further the safety, stability, and prospect of our peoples. You've worked together at the Naval Postgraduate School. Keep it up. You'll always work better together. And so Admiral Rout, Provost Newman, their terrific staff and faculty will stay behind as you fan out across the world, but they'll send you even more smart, well-educated colleagues, people who know how to think and, like you, will want to stretch their mental muscles in tackling the toughest problems we all face. The Naval Postgraduate School will still be a resource for you. You're not leaving it behind in reality. The great team here will continue to stimulate thought, impart extraordinarily important learning, and conduct momentous research. Lean on them when you need to. Finally, the traditional sailor's farewell. I wish you fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
I would now like to invite President Rout and Acting Provost Newman forward for the conferring of PhD candidates.
Okay.
Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy please stand and proceed to the platform?
Will Commander Christopher Adrian Martino, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, please cross the stage? The title of Commander Martino's dissertation is Theory and Design of Medium Voltage Pulsed Current Supplies Using Wide Bandgap Solid-State Devices. Commander Martino's dissertation advisor is Professor Todd Weatherford from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Commander Martino, in research sponsored by the Office of Naval Research, invented a method to control the current discharged from a capacitor into another capacitor through a switching power supply. This control will enable smaller pulsed current supplies for the railgun. He also invented a semiconductor device structure that will allow for high-power devices that dissipate less heat when turned on. These devices enable more efficient switching power supplies for high-voltage power conversion. President Rout, I present to you Commander Martino. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
The Lieutenant Commander Eric Edwards, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Physical Oceanography, please cross the stage. The title of Lieutenant Commander Edwards' dissertation is Diapicnal Transport and Pattern Formation in Double Diffusive Convection. Lieutenant Commander Edwards' dissertation advisor is Professor Timur Radko from the Department of Physical Oceanography. Lieutenant Commander Edwards, in research sponsored by the National Science Foundation, conducted comprehensive high-resolution modeling of mid and high-latitude ocean regions, analyzing the role of double diffusive mixing in thermohaline circulation and deep convection. His research indicates that double diffusion profoundly affects the large-scale circulation pattern driving Earth's climate and must be represented in all future numerical and theoretical models. Lieutenant Commander Edwards' research has significantly improved understanding of key processes vital to the accuracy of global climate predictions. President Rout, I present to you Lieutenant Commander Edwards. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Commander Jorge Garcia, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Systems Engineering, please cross the stage. The title of Commander Garcia's dissertation is Building Blocks, a model of reverse engineering and applicable heuristics. Commander Garcia's dissertation advisor is Professor Robert Harney from the Department of Systems Engineering. Reverse engineering is the problem-solving activity that ensues when one takes a human-made system, whole or in part, and attempts, through systematic analysis of its physical characteristics and other available evidence, and answer one or more of the following questions. What is it for? What does it do? How does it do it? What is inside it? How is it made? A model of reverse engineering is developed. A series of case studies are used to help validate and refine the model and to identify and catalog applicable experience-based techniques known as heuristics. The model is also cast in an executable formal language to test its assumptions and explore its implications through automatically generated scenarios. The work introduces a new descriptive terminology of reverse engineering and provides a new framework to interpret real-world reverse engineering activity. President Rout, I present to you Commander Garcia. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Commander Brian Patrick O'Lavin, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Security Affairs, please cross the stage. The title of Commander O'Lavin's dissertation is War on the Cheap, U.S. Military Advisors in Greece, Korea, the Philippines, and Vietnam. Commander O'Lavin's dissertation advisor is Professor Daniel Moran from the Department of National Security Affairs. Professor Eric Dahl, also from the Department of National Security Affairs, is standing in for Professor Moran. Commander O'Lavin's research addressed the historical efficacy of military advisors in the aftermath of the Second World War. This research challenged the mythology of past advisory efforts and how it contributed to a pattern of exaggerated success and dependency on a very limited tool. Commander O'Lavin's work provides guidance for policymakers wishing to better assess whether advisory efforts can achieve U.S. foreign policy goals in a more cost-effective manner. President Rout, I present to you Commander O'Lavin. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Ms. Winchell Land, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Astronautical Engineering, please cross the stage. The title of Ms. Winchell Land's dissertation is Development of a Low-Cost Method for Whole Spacecraft Isolation of Small Satellites. Ms. Land's dissertation advisor is Professor James Newman from the Space Systems Academic Group. Ms. Land, in research sponsored by the National Reconnaissance Office, developed a low-cost method for reducing vibration levels for small satellites. She combined the use of affordable, commercially available isolators and a non-traditional test setup called force-limited vibration testing. Her method results in dramatically reduced vibration levels during testing, which will help prevent test failures and allow more sensitive and complex payloads to gain access to space. The cost of this method of isolation is significantly lower than traditional methods, and its performance improves the government's infrastructure capability for launching small satellites. President Rout, I present to you Ms. Land. She has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the candidates for the degree Masters of Arts, Masters of Science, Masters of Engineering, Masters of Business Administration, and Executive Masters of Business Administration please stand?
President Rout, I present to you these candidates. After consideration of their academic accomplishments, the Academic Council will recommend them for the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Business Administration, and Executive Master of Business Administration as specified.
Upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I will, by the authority vested in me, confer upon them the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Engineering, Master of Business Administration, and Executive Master of Business Administration as specified, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the first row of candidates please proceed to the platform? Remaining candidates, please be seated. Of this quarter's 331 graduating class, 97 have also earned the Command and Staff Diploma from the Joint Professional Military Education Program sponsored by the Naval War College. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Middle East, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, Major Jason Belknap, U.S. Army. Please hold your applause until the final student has crossed the stage. Major Jean-Jacques Louise, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Commander Joel Milwee, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Dave Nicholas, U.S. Navy. Major Charles Barton, U.S. Air Force. Major Brandon Brown, U.S. Air Force. Major Tara Brewer Hasbrook, U.S. Air Force. Major Michael LeBron, U.S. Air Force. Major Brian Raffa, U.S. Air Force. Major Jonathan Schifferl, U.S. Air Force. Captain John Steiner, U.S. Air Force. Mr. Ibrahim Brushara Bahir Musa, Civilian, Defense Language Institute. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Far East, South Asia, and the Pacific, Captain Jin-Hak Jong, Republic of Korea. Captain Dunggun Lee, Republic of Korean Army. Lieutenant Commander Adam Bean, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander David Kaiser, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Scott Richards, Jr., U.S. Navy. Captain Jamie Ellis, U.S. Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Dean Tan War Kang, Republic of Singapore Air Force, the International Student Award for Excellence in Regional and Security Studies with distinction and outstanding thesis. Major Jun Eok Sun, Republic of Korean Air Force. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Western Hemisphere, Lieutenant Carlos Carbello, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Dan Hildenbrand, U.S. Navy. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Europe and Eurasia, Major A.J. Raymond, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Gregoire Monet, Swiss Armed Forces Joint Staff, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Ian Overcash, U.S. Navy. Captain Seth Neville, U.S. Air Force, the Outstanding United States Air Force Graduate Award, Department of National Security Affairs, Foreign Area Officer Association Award for Excellence in International Affairs and with distinction. Captain Jeffrey Paquette, U.S. Air Force, the Outstanding United States Air Force Graduate Award, Department of National Security Affairs. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Civil Military Relations, Captain Randy James Beck, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Anthapattu Mugadali Shimanada Vijay Arathani, Sri Lankan Army. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Stabilization and Reconstruction, Lieutenant Jackson Pung, Lieutenant Colonel Jackson Pung, Republic of Singapore Navy. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Strategic Studies, Lieutenant Colonel Amir Hussein Khan, Pakistan Army. Colonel Abdullah Khalif Al-Nazi, Saudi Arabian National Guard. Lieutenant James Eric Beatty, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Aminuddin Albek, Indonesian Navy. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Homeland Security and Defense, Lieutenant Zachary Bogoslawski, U.S. Navy. Major Mark Chang, U.S. Air Force, outstanding thesis. Captain Joshua Frizzale, U.S. Air Force. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Homeland Security and Defense, Major John Nidka, New York Army National Guard, Albany, New York. Commander Timothy List, United States Coast Guard, Washington, D.C. Major Thomas Banker, Washington Air National Guard, Camp Murray, Washington. Ms. Nabila Babari, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. Ms. T. Michelle Khaliva, Upstate New York Poison Center, Syracuse, New York. Chief Patrol Agent Gloria Chavez, U.S. Border Patrol, Spokane, Washington. Captain James Cook, Amtrak Police, Washington, D.C. Mr. Randy Cotton, Transportation Security Administration, Washington, D.C. Section Chief Josh Davies, Santa Clara County Emergency Medical Service Agency, California. Captain Jerry Davis, Virginia State Police, Wytheville, Virginia. Chief Maggie DeBoard, Herndon Police Department, Virginia. Deputy Chief Stephen Dubé, Colorado Springs Fire Department, Colorado. Ms. Vicki Furnish, Kern County Environmental Health Department, California. Chief Scott Goldstein, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service, Maryland. Lieutenant Patrice Hubbard, St. Petersburg Police Department, Florida. Ms. Kari Jefferson, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. Mr. Michael Caro, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. Mr. Robert King III, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. Captain Chris Milburn, Long Beach Fire Department, California. Mr. Craig Mohar, Sacramento Police Department, California. Captain John Payne, City of Bremerton Fire Department, Washington. Mr. Stephen Polonsky, Texas A&M Transportation Institute, Austin, Texas. Mr. Stephen
Band member.
Mr. Stephen Ridge, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Washington, D.C. Mr. Michael Russes, Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency. Captain Antonio Sager, Jr., Stockton Police Department, California. Captain Eric Saylors, Sacramento City Fire Department, California. Outstanding thesis. Sergeant Mike Schofield, Kansas City Police Department, Missouri. Lieutenant Michael Sundam, California Highway Patrol, Sacramento, California. Deputy Chief Brent Swearingen, Valley Regional Fire Authority, Auburn, Washington. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Thomas, Florida Highway Patrol, Tallahassee, Florida. Senior Special Agent Sean Tupper, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Houston, Texas. Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Combating Terrorism, Policy and Strategy. Lieutenant Colonel Malik Nasim Abbas, Pakistan Army. Lieutenant Colonel Aga Krum Raza Khan, Pakistan Army. Lieutenant Colonel Nilantha Premamratna, Sri Lankan Army. Major Africano Abbas, Ugandan People's Defense Force. Colonel Henry Isoke, Ugandan People's Defense Force. Lieutenant Commander Darren Henfeld, Royal Bahamas Defense Force, also received Monterey Kiwanis Club Outstanding International Student Award. Colonel Peterson Fernando, Sri Lanka Air Force. Captain Ulas Yildiz, Turkish Dremender. Mr. Santiago Arca Ennan, Uruguayan civilian, with distinction. Masters of Science in Electrical Engineering, Lieutenant Forrest Bush, U.S. Navy. Also received the Monterey Council Navy League Award for highest academic achievement. Lieutenant Joel Chinkata, U.S. Navy. Also received the AFCEA John McReynolds Wovencraft Electrical and Computer Engineering Academic Honor Award. Lieutenant Lurknam Sana, Pornlump, Thailand Navy. Lieutenant Marcos Chi Lim Su, Brazilian Navy. Masters of Engineering, Electrical Engineering, Mr. Jared Fife, Naval Air War Center, Weapons Division. Mr. Shane Eisenbraun, Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division. Mr. Keith Ing Ewan, NAVAIR. Masters of Science in Mechanical Engineering, First Lieutenant Samuel Lowell, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Matthew Hayes, U.S. Navy, with distinction. Lieutenant Carolyn Mai, U.S. Navy, outstanding thesis. Masters of Science in Astronautical Engineering, Lieutenant Rachel Barton, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Brian Fields, U.S. Navy, also received the astronaut Michael J. Smith, Captain USN, and the astronaut William C. McCool, Commander USN Astronautics Award. Lieutenant Christopher Flores, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Jared Azarico, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Ernesto Villalba, U.S. Navy, also received the Space Systems Engineering Award for academic excellence. Mr. Ryan McCardle, civilian, Naval Postgraduate School. Masters of Science in Systems Engineering, Captain Dean Talent, U.S. Army, with distinction. Lieutenant Ross Eldred, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Robert Fossey III, U.S. Navy, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Commander Eric Gatley, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Keith Robinson, U.S. Navy, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Patrick Stone, U.S. Navy, with distinction. Lieutenant Amanda Towie, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Jordan White, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Christopher Leslie, U.S. Navy Reserve. Captain Robert Michael Thorland, U.S. Army National Guard. Mrs. Anna Lisa Campbell, U.S. Army Test and Evaluation Command. Mr. Andrew Lee Christensen, Strategic Systems Program. Mr. Ian Michael Anthony Grotto, Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command. Mr. Dan Collins, Northrop Grumman Corporation. Mr. James Daniel Iverson, Department of the Army, Program Executive Office, Missile and Space. Mr. Matt Mason, Northrop Grumman Corporation. Mr. Sean Monira, Marine Corps Tactical Systems Support Activity. Mr. John Christian Petruski, Marine Corps Systems Command. Mr. Edwin Victor Salapandi, Marine Corps Tactical Systems Support Activity. Masters of Science in Engineering Systems, Captain Kai P. Colby, U.S. Marine Corps. Mr. Daniel Remaker, Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command. Mr. Paul A. Bourgeois, Marine Corps Systems Command, also received the Myers Award for Outstanding Student in Systems Engineering. Miss Allison E. Letter, General Dynamics Information Technology, also received the Meyer Award for Outstanding Student in Systems Engineering. Master of Science in Systems Engineering Analysis, Major Kern Brown, U.S. Army, with distinction. Captain Michael Flint, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Matthew Klein, U.S. Navy. Masters of Science in Meteorology and Physical Oceanography, Lieutenant Charlotte Benbow, U.S. Navy, with distinction. Lieutenant Commander Laura Michelle DeHaan, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Dustin Douglas Hawking, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Darren Hoyt Keeter, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Christopher Merriam, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant J.G. Nuri Karaaslan, Turkish Navy. Masters of Science in Physical Oceanography, Lieutenant Lonnie Carson, U.S. Navy. Also received the Surface Navies Association Award for Excellence in Surface Warfare Research. Lieutenant Commander Bambang Marwotu, Indonesian Navy. Lieutenant Commander Haewon Choi, Korean Navy.
Maybe.
Masters of Science in Combat Systems Technology, Lieutenant Commander Mihail Pothetas, Hellenic Navy, also received the degree Masters of Science in Systems Technology, Command, Control, and Communication with distinction. Masters of Science in Physics, Lieutenant Eric Lee, U.S. Navy. Masters of Science in Applied Physics, Lieutenant Kevin O'Malley, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Eric Stinson, U.S. Navy.
You need some water, sir? Okay.
Lieutenant J.G. Ronald Palos Quinones, Peruvian Navy. Lieutenant Tyler Ostermeyer, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Daniel Martell, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Ryan Johnson, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Oscar Garcia, Chilean Navy, also received the Naval Postgraduate School Outstanding Academic Award for International Students with distinction, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Mark Collins, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Manuel Ariza, Colombian Navy, outstanding thesis. Mr. Wei Sheng Joseph Ung, Singapore. Masters of Science in Operations Research, Major Hassan bin Mohammed Riaz, Malaysian Army. Ensign William D'Souza, U.S. Navy. Commander Brian Charles Flick, U.S. Navy. Masters of Science in Information Strategy and Political Warfare, Major Chad Alexander, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Burline, U.S. Army. Major Brett Butler, U.S. Army. Chief Warrant Officer 4, Stephen Dayspring, U.S. Army. Also received the Hans Jones Award for Excellence in Thesis Research in special operations on irregular warfare or security, stabilization, transition, and reconstruction. Major Corey McCoy, U.S. Army. Major Sean McQuaid, U.S. Army. Major Jamie Nassy, U.S. Army. Major Andrew Ruskowitz, U.S. Army. Major Matthew Shirley, U.S. Army. Major Jacob Sweatland, U.S. Army. Master of Science in Defense Analysis, Major Wael Abbas, Lebanese Army. Lieutenant Colonel Dejan Afranandi, Indonesian Army. Major Justin Bakal, U.S. Army. Major Daniel Blankenhorn, U.S. Army. Major D. Timothy Burton, U.S. Army. Major Emmanuel Kabahung, Philippine Army. Major Samuel Colby, U.S. Army. Major Stephen Crow, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Dalpian, Swiss Special Forces Command. Captain Stefan Dimov, Bulgarian Army. Major Antoine Fernandez, U.S. Army. Major Ryan Gladding, U.S. Army. Major Brennan Goldtree, U.S. Army. Major Brian Hanrahan, U.S. Army. Major Scott Luthner, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Moses Malula, Tanzanian People's Defense Forces. Colonel Kana Nabaraj, Royal Thai Army. Major Patrick O'Connor, U.S. Army. Major Joshua Russo, U.S. Army. Captain Zoltan Schneider, Hungarian Defense Forces. Lieutenant Colonel Eduardo Sosa, Paraguayan Army. Major Benjamin Spira, U.S. Army. Major Travis Taylor, U.S. Army. Major Kai Thaxton, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Colonel Chandri Saeed Ullah, Pakistan Army. Also received the degree Masters of Arts in Security Studies, Middle East, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, with distinction, outstanding thesis. Major Adam Wakab, U.S. Army. Major David Woody, U.S. Army.
About four more rows.
Lieutenant Commander Amrul Adi Ansra, Indonesian Navy. Captain Pakribo Anabraba, Nigerian Navy. Lieutenant Forrest Krall, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Richard Jordan, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Derek Lothringer, U.S. Navy. Commander Matthew McGraw, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Eddie Santoro, Indonesian Navy. Major Colin Bilsma, Royal Canadian Air Force. Major John Caldwell, U.S. Air Force. Major Jared Harris, U.S. Air Force. Major Peter McWilliam, U.S. Air Force.
Above 3 rows.
Major Shane Moscato, U.S. Air Force. Major June Oh, U.S. Air Force. Major Kevin Roulette, U.S. Air Force. Major Jennifer Snow, U.S. Air Force. Major Joey Sullivan, U.S. Air Force. Masters of Science in Computer Science, Captain Stephen Daniel Kent, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Paxton Loy Miller, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Simon Sanchez, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Paul Sloan, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Captain Ji Min Park, Korean Air Force. Mr. Lawrence Lee Keener, Vista Research Incorporated, outstanding thesis. Masters of Science in Management, Captain Zachary Burke, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Zachary Germershausen, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Michael Herendeen, U.S. Marine Corps. Major Anthony Johnston, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Jacob Johnson, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Travis Martin, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Kwabena Okiri Boating, U.S. Marine Corps. Major Brian Turner, U.S. Marine Corps, also received the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Business and Public Policy with distinction, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Jessica Group, Royal Australian Navy. Miss Wan Ying Wong, Singapore civilian, also received the Graduate School of Business and Public Policy Faculty Outstanding International Student Award.
Almost.
Masters of Business Administration, Captain David Anderson, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Kenneth Conover, U.S. Marine Corps. Major Joshua Gregory, U.S. Marine Corps, also received the Marine Corps Association Superior Service Award for Outstanding U.S. Marine Student, Rear Admiral Donald R. Eaton Logistics Award for Outstanding Achievement, with distinction, outstanding thesis. Captain Danny Hamler, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Todd Hoyt, U.S. Marine Corps, also received the Rear Admiral Donald R. Eaton Logistics Award for Outstanding Achievement. Major Jason Raper, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Eric Rosmaniff, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Edwin Santibanez, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain David Sharp, U.S. Marine Corps. Captain Jason Wood, U.S. Marine Corps, also received the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Business and Public Policy, Department of the Navy Award for Academic Excellence in Financial Management, and with distinction. Major James Allen, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Major Scott Bailey, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis, JPME. Major Jason Bohannon, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Major Michael Carroll, U.S. Army. Captain Gary Croston, U.S. Army. Major Edward Gutierrez, U.S. Army.
Another row.
Major Andrew Johnston, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Major Donald Lee, U.S. Army, outstanding thesis. Major Zachary Lewis, U.S. Army. Captain Jared Owen, U.S. Army. Captain Brandon Pye, U.S. Army, also received the Army Acquisition Corps Award for Scholastic Achievement with Distinction and Outstanding Thesis.
Oh, bro.
Congratulations.
Captain Zachary Valentine, U.S. Army. Major Jamal Williams, U.S. Army. Lieutenant Ian Barr, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Robert Blake, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Justin Borez, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Jeffrey Charles Bonaventura, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Christopher Burt, U.S. Navy, also received the Commander Philip A. Murphy Sweet Memorial Award for Excellence in Acquisition with Distinction.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Lupe Chow, U.S. Navy, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Commander William Coffeen, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Paul DeVorce, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Craig Jefiakupski, U.S. Navy, also received the Naval Supply Systems Command Award for Academic Excellence in Management.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Commander Adeshin Iundiao, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant T.J. Goss, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander David Henton, U.S. Navy.
One more after that. Yep.
Lieutenant Commander Jason Jackson, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Benjamin Kalish, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Michael Key, U.S. Navy, also received the Naval Supply Systems Command Award for Academic Excellence in Management with Distinction, Outstanding Thesis.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Jeffrey Legg, U.S. Navy, outstanding thesis. Lieutenant Scott Margolis, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Curtis Nowak, U.S. Navy. Captain Matthew Comer, U.S. Air Force. Captain Brett Barnes, U.S. Air Force. Lieutenant Commander Matthew Weber, U.S. Coast Guard. Lieutenant Commander Mohammed Reza Awandi, Indonesian Navy. Lieutenant Mark Wise, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Theodore Vermenchuk, U.S. Navy. Also received the Rear Admiral Thomas R. McClellan Award for Academic Excellence in the Graduate School of Business and Public Policy with Distinction.
That should be the
Lieutenant
last.
Brendan Teague, U.S. Navy.
Yep, that's the last of it right there.
Lieutenant Michael
That's the last.
Tereskavich, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Wendell Stevens, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Eli Ruddick, U.S. Navy. Lieutenant Commander Carrie Paben, U.S. Navy. Also received the Naval Postgraduate School Superior Service Award. Lieutenant Commander Paul Notar Nicola. Lieutenant Donald Northrup, U.S. Navy, also received the Conrad Scholar Award for Distinguished Academic Achievement in Financial Management.
Is that right? That's it.
Captain Jamie Davis, U.S. Air Force. Captain John Ellis, U.S. Air Force. Captain Mark George, U.S. Air Force, outstanding thesis. Captain Jacques Lamoureux, U.S. Air Force. Master Sergeant John Menano, U.S. Air Force, also received the Air Force Association Award for Outstanding U.S. Air Force Student, the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force Acquisition Award for Academic Excellence, with distinction, outstanding thesis. Captain Marcus Miller, U.S. Air Force.
Yep, that's it. Four
Captain
more.
Michael Murrow, U.S. Air Force.
Should do it.
Captain Clinton Walls, U.S. Air Force, also received the Assistant Secretary of the Air Force Acquisition Award for Academic Excellence and with distinction.
Congratulations.
Lieutenant Commander Daisuke Hidaka, Japan Maritime Defense Force. Round of applause for the... Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony. On behalf of the President and all of us at the Naval Postgraduate School, I'd like to once again thank you for being here today and wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a peaceful, Happy New Year. Please remain clear of the aisles until the platform party and faculty have departed. President Rao cordially invites graduates, faculty, and guests to a reception in honor of the graduates in the Barbara McNitt Ballroom of Herman Hall immediately following this ceremony. Chaplain Nelson will now give the benediction.
I invite you to join me as I pray. Most holy and gracious one, we ask now for your hand of blessing upon our graduates. May the instruction of their teachers and the love of their families and friends continue to strengthen them in the days ahead as they continue to serve a cause greater than themselves with honor, courage, and commitment. As we now leave this great hall with a renewed sense of purpose and direction, whether graduate or student, faculty or staff, family or friend, may your peace be with us, may your grace shine in us, and may your strength be evident in all that we do. Amen.